You so much, Samuel. I am a mindset coach. I work with an incredible company called Dynamite Lifestyle. And what we do is we help you to understand the transformative power of your mindset in creating your results, right? We're all about being able to create your life by design rather than by default. Just a little bit about Dynamite Lifestyle. So the CEO is my incredible mentor, Kim Calvert, and she was mentored by the late Bob Proctor, and she was actually Bob Proctor's #1 consultant. And so she was trained directly by Bob, and then she's trained me directly as well to be able to coach this material. Why I'm so passionate about this material is it has completely changed my life. I was very stuck for many, many years. I was very unhappy. I didn't like the results I was getting in most areas of my life, both personally and professionally. My one of my biggest causes of pain was that I really wanted to have a child, and I wasn't able to. I experienced 3 losses along the way. But now I'm very grateful and blessed to be the mother of an incredible 2-year-old little boy. So it took me almost 7 years to be able to have a healthy baby, but he's here now and he's amazing. And I owe it, a lot of it, to just being able to study this material. And the reason is that what we help you to really do is understand who you really are at your essence, right? Because for most people, when you ask, who are you? They'll tell you their names, they'll tell you their roles or their titles. But what happens when you remove those things? When you remove the roles, you remove the titles, you remove the name, how many people can actually answer who they really are? And if you're not able to answer that, then you're missing out on a big part of who you actually are. You're missing out on a big part of why you're here on earth, right? So it's such an important thing to be able to answer. And at our core, at our essence, we are spiritual beings. We are living in a physical body, but we're spiritual beings. And as long as we're disconnected from that, or as long as we're thinking that we are just the physical, we're missing out on so much. And when you're able to connect to that and then do life from that knowing, everything starts to change. Now, when I came into mentorship, for me, what I quickly realized was that the results I was getting that I didn't like were actually a reflection about how I felt about myself. And that was a bitter pill to swallow, because in as much as I was stuck, I was also very much in blame game. So I was blaming all the things outside of me and all the people outside of me. And it wasn't me, it was everything outside. And it's not a nice feeling. I mean, there's a certain degree to which, blaming kind of gives this like people should comfort you and feel sorry for you, but it just really keeps you very stuck. And with this material, we're able to understand that it's a reflection of what's going on inside me. So what I need to change is me. I don't need to change anything outside of me to shift my results. I just need to change me and how I feel about me and, my habits and my beliefs. And that's the process. We say this analogy that if you're looking in the mirror and there's something in the reflection that you don't like, you can't change the mirror, right? You can't start drawing on it or whatever. You have to change what is being reflected, and that is you. And that is really what we want to take you on a journey of being able to do. We want to help you understand your attitude, right? So getting into who you really are, what is that purpose? And then getting into starting to look at your goals. What is it that you really want? Another important part of attitude is being able to let go. And this is on 2 levels, right? So number 1, there's a lot of hurts and things that have happened in the past that we tend to carry. And what we don't realize is that carrying that is taking up a lot of emotional and energetic space. And when that space is being taken up by what we do not want and what does not serve us, it's limiting us from being able to let in what we actually want. We say it like this: if you're holding a ball of resentment and you're holding a ball of unforgiveness, or you're holding a ball of regret, and your hands are completely full, and I come and I want to throw you a ball of prosperity, I want to throw you a ball of vibrant health, you won't be able to catch what I'm throwing unless you let go of what you're catching to create this space. And it's very much the same thing. It's about creating that space to let in what it is that you actually want. So when we've helped you to really understand attitude, then we go to alignment, because what we want to do is that we want you to be able to take aligned action that is leading you towards your goal, rather than, just being very busy for the sake of being very busy. We want it to be aligned action. So in alignment, we help you to really understand the thinking process. We help you to understand these higher mental tools that you have, which you may not be aware of, and which are such powerful gifts for you to use. One of these gifts is the imagination. Now, it's unfortunate that the imagination is one of those gifts that we used very, very, very well as children, right? Whether it was having an imaginary friend, whether it was creating worlds in our minds and just being there and daydreaming and spending time in our imagination. But as adults, very few people are using their imagination in ways that serve them. Now, I say in ways that serve them because how many people will think of the negative what ifs, right? You think of doing something. Maybe you want to start a new business. Maybe you want to ask for a promotion, whatever that might be for you. And then instead of your imagination going into, ooh, like that would be awesome if it works out, right? How would that look? How would I like that to look? Instead, many people will use their imagination to think of all the negative what ifs. What if they say no? What if it fails? What if it doesn't work out? What if I embarrass myself, right? All these negative what ifs. And the thing is, what if is still using the imagination. What if is still using your imagination, right? Why? Because it's not something that is present. It is something that in your mind you are creating. So let's help you to be able to use your imagination in ways that serve you, because it's an incredibly powerful tool. Another really important part of alignment is what we call self-image. Now, your self-image is how you truly feel about you, how you truly feel about yourselves. Many people do walk around in the world with all kinds of masks, think or how they need to present themselves to the world. And that's not what is key. What is key is how do you genuinely feel about yourself? Do you love yourself? Do you like who you are? Are your beliefs and habits aligned with your goal? These are really important things to look at. And I'll explain why. A self-image acts as like a thermostat, like a thermostat in your house that you set the temperature. And so if the temperature drops, it kicks on to boost the temperature up to where it needs to be, and then it switches off. The self-image kind of works the same with us in terms of what we're able to achieve. So you cannot actually outperform your self-image. So what happens is, say your set point is here, and the goal you want to achieve is up here. Now, what many people will do is they'll be like, okay, I'll just work really, 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 really hard, work really long hours, and then I know I can hit that goal. And many times they will hit that goal, right? But then they're so exhausted, they're so overworked, they're so overwhelmed and burnt out, they decide, okay, that wasn't even worth it, and they drop back down. The reason is that the self-image is the set point. And because we cannot outperform it, what we need to learn how to do is raise it. We need to learn how to be able to raise the self-image to be aligned with the goal. Now, what happens when you raise your self-image to be aligned with the goal, you start to think like the person who's already in that goal, the version of you who's already living that life. You start to think like that person. You start to feel like that person. You start to act like that person. And what happens is the gap closes. You become that person. You have what that person has, right? So it's so important to be able to align our self-image with our goals. And then we want to go into action. Like I said, it's aligned action that we want to take. So here we really need to fire up desire. We need to fire up desire because desire acts as a magnet. Now, what we find is that many people don't have goals. They either it's society that set the goals for them, or it's family, or it's other people, or they're actually, just looking for the next thing and looking for the next thing, but they haven't set what their goals are. Now, when you don't have that magnet pulling you, as Bob Proctor used to say, you're blown about by a leaf in the wind. You don't have the direction. And when you don't have the direction, you'll find you're not inspired, or you lack motivation, and you feel a kind of like emptiness inside. And it's not that there's anything wrong with you. It's just that you haven't got that magnet that's pulling you. So we need to fire up the desire, right? Create a burning desire. And then another very important thing that's needed is faith, because especially when you're stepping into something new, you need that unwavering faith and belief that it will work out, right? You need to know within yourself, even if the people around you aren't telling you that, but being able to know that within yourself, having that unwavering faith within yourself. And another very key thing is decision. Many people like to make decisions only when they can see the how, right? And what we find is that successful people make decisions very, very, very fast, and they change them very slowly, if at all. That is one of the key success habits. Now, the reason they are able to do that is for them, it's simply a matter of, is this something I want? And will it help me achieve my goal, or will it get me closer to my goal, right? If those two answers are yes, they will make a committed decision without knowing the how. Whereas a lot of other people, when the decision comes up, they first want to see the path. They want to see, okay, I need to do this, or I can do this, or I can do that, before they say yes or no. They don't actually even ask themselves whether it's something they want or not. Now, what happens is when you make a committed decision, you immediately raise your vibration to the frequency of the decision. And that means that the things that are required for that decision can start to be attracted to you. But you had to raise your frequency by making the committed decision. Because once you make the committed decision, your thoughts are changing. Your thoughts are now aligned with the decision that you've made, right? So the ideas are able to start coming. The resources are able to start coming. The people are able to start coming for that to happen. But you need to make the committed decision first. They can't come if you haven't made the decision. So these are some of the things that we're able to teach you. We take you through the attitude, alignment, and action. We have a scientific process that we go through. Now, the reason a scientific process is so important is because it's not experimental, right? Bob Proctor, who was Kim's mentor, studied this material for over 60 years, up until his passing. He changed his life so dramatically that he devoted almost 9 years to really understanding why the change happened, and then devoted the rest of his life to teaching others so that they could create the lives that they desired on their terms. Bob Proctor went from, at some point, he was earning $4,000 a year, and he owed $6,000. He literally would say how he owed everybody money. That was kind of his starting point. He was unhappy, he wasn't very healthy, and he was always broke. And in a short space of time, in about a year, he had grown his earnings to $175,000. And he was so shocked by these results. He was like, okay, I need to understand how this happened. He is then, once he understood what had changed and how it had changed, he then, like I mentioned, devoted the rest of his life to teaching others. And one of the people who he taught is my incredible mentor, Kim Calvert. Now, Kim will share a little bit of her story in a video that I'll share shortly. But she was also able to completely dramatically turn around her life and is now living an absolutely incredibly beautiful life by design. not by default. Too many people truly are living by default. You're reacting to life, this happens and you feel this way, this happens and this, like it's not that you are the conscious creator of your life, it's that you're going around reacting. And that takes away so much peace, that takes away so much joy, and it means you're not living the full version of life that you're actually here to experience and to live. And we want to help you to be able to change that. Now, I'm going to share a video by Kim where she is going to teach a little bit more about, what we do in a video, and really help you to understand that scientific process of how the results are being created. So I'm going to share that. But thank you so much. And and we'll talk as we go through the video.
I just have 3 questions.
Oh, sorry, I can't hear you.
Okay, what about now?
Yes, now I can hear you.
So I want to put myself in a potential client's shoes.
Mm-hmm.
So first I want to review some of the things that you said.
Okay.
So you guys start out with attitude, changing the attitude, then focusing on alignment, focusing on aligned action. My first question is, you mentioned unwavering faith. So anyone, as people might know, we're in the first year of our business, and there's a lot of ups and downs when it comes to the first year of business. Honestly, I really don't recommend entrepreneurship to the weak because it's a very, very difficult thing to do. And I've heard a guy talk about this when it comes to unwavering faith. And he said everyone has that on September 1st, right? They even have it on September 15th. But when September 23rd comes and they have no deals, or even September 30th comes and they have no deals, how do people maintain, maybe they, as you mentioned earlier, they're working on it and they busted their butt, they were able to make it just enough to make it to the next month, but they're burning out and they're really putting their hands in the air and they're saying, well, why do I even do this? Why don't I just get a job where life would be way easier? If I can do it as an entrepreneur, then that's way easier. How do you instruct clients to get through those moments where they're at that last, they're at the last bit of themselves to stay wavered?
That's a really, really good question. One of the key elements is desire, right? Because we'll stick it through if we truly have a burning desire for what we're doing. So if there's that burning desire, for that business that they've started, they're really passionate about what it is that they're doing, how they're serving clients, then we help them to really connect back with that burning desire. What is your why? Why are you doing it, right? Because when that why is strong enough, then even in those rough moments, you're able to connect back with that and it fuels your passion back up. Another thing, when we speak about the unwavering faith, it's faith that's based on study and understanding, right? So it comes from understanding that this is how my results are created. So even if in this moment, the results are not looking as I would want them to, as long as I continue living by the spiritual laws, as long as I continue following the scientific process of achievement, the results have to change by law. So my job is to really just reconnect with that desire and then make sure, okay, am I focused on the goal? Because as long as I focus on the results that I don't want, here's what happens. You see a result that you don't want, right? So say you're saying like you didn't close the number of clients that you needed to close. So you see that result. And then you start thinking, oh no, how am I going to pay the bills? This was a bad idea. I should have stayed in employment. Everyone told me I shouldn't have done this, right? So you start now meditating on those kinds of thoughts. Those thoughts turn into emotion, feeling. And that is a very low feeling. When we're entertaining very negative thoughts, we start to put ourselves on a very low feeling. Now, emotion is energy in motion. So it means it must move. Where does this energy move to? It moves into the body, and then we take action. Now, if I take action in a very low energy, I can only get back more of the same, right? And that's how we start to create this very negative cycle, because then again, I look at those results and then I'm like, you see, this was a bad idea. And then I start that whole spiral all over again. Now, what we need to be able to learn how to do is to look at those results that maybe we don't necessarily like, but be like, okay, present results are the effect of past thinking. And I'm changing my thinking, meaning the results must, by law, at some point change as long as I create a new cycle. So, what new belief do I need to have? I need to believe I'm a top entrepreneur with a very successful business, right? That's a new belief I want to plant into myself. Now, when I look at the results, I say, okay, that's from the past. I'm choosing a new thought. I'm not going to keep my focus and attention on what's not working. I'm choosing a new thought. I'm choosing, I'm excellent at what I do. I know the service I provide is great. It provides value. It changes lives. That's now the thought that I'm entertaining. That feels really good. That feels much better, because at our core as humans, we all want to serve others, just that we do it in different ways. So when I'm thinking, yeah, like what I do serves people, it changes lives, that feels amazing, right? So now I'm on a higher vibration. Now when I take action, the reaction in terms of results can start to change, and I can start to shift the results I'm getting. Now, it wasn't that the physical had to change first, it was that my thinking had to change first. So I hope that kind of answers your question.
Yeah, that was a great question, or a great answer to the question. My next question, and then I'd love to see you get into that video, is a lot of people are stuck. They don't know how to find a burning desire in anything. A lot of young people don't know what career path to take. How do you guide those people in finding that burning desire?
That's a great question as well. And it's so true, because I think even for me, I know when I used to hear the word goal, it felt restrictive, right? It felt like, oh gosh, like it has to look like this, or it has to be like this, and and it kind of just like made me feel like very restricted. Now, for us, when we talk about burning desire, we're looking at, what do you really want? So, one of the things we ask people is to take them out of their head and into their heart. We say, pretend this pen is a magic wand, and close your eyes and drop into your heart and paint me the picture of your perfect life. That really gets people into thinking about possibility. It gets people into thinking about what they really want, what is true for them, not what society says they're supposed to want or what their family says they're supposed to want, but what they truly, truly want. And it's very unfortunate, because most people are not asked that question of, what do you really want? And when you start to ask that question, when you start to allow your mind to go in that direction, it starts to paint a picture of what that desire is for you. So it's an amazing process. It also uses, visualization, where you're just able to paint the picture in your mind, in your imagination. Like I said, that's a very important creative tool. And then you start to get clearer on it. You start to get clearer. You start to see details that you weren't seeing before. You start to see, oh yeah, I would love family. Oh yeah, I would love to be able to work from home. Or I'd love to work remotely. Or I want to be in an office. Or I want my own company. Or I want this. Or I want that. The more you allow your mind to create a new direction, a new thought bubble of going on, what is it I really want? You'll find, by doing that and taking your mind in that direction, you'll start to get clearer on what the desire is for you.
I love that, and I was closing my eyes and doing it myself
Awesome.
because, like you mentioned, so many people are bogged down with negative self-talk. That's one of the biggest things you see across the board. And like you said, it's not necessarily telling those to stop, it's replacing them with positive ones. Because if I focus on stopping negative self thoughts, Now I'm going to have even more negative self-thoughts about the fact that I can't stop having negative self-thoughts. And now I'm just in a loop of of grief and discomfort. But as you mentioned, new belief, I am a top entrepreneur. Putting that into the world, now the world reciprocates towards you instead of I'm not going to get that deal, I'm not good enough, what I'm doing, all of those things only hurt you. New beliefs only guide you towards that vision because, as you mentioned earlier, that unwavering faith, it's going to be hard, everybody. I mean, that's just a fact. Being an entrepreneur is the hardest thing you'll ever do. You're not going to get as much sleep as you want. There's always going to be somebody that's not as happy, as the other person. You're always going to be having to reinvent yourself and add more value. You have to invest in yourself. I was talking to a guy about this as well, is that, this is an investment in yourself. Whether you are someone who's in the beginning stages and you think, man, I don't have the money, Sam. I don't have the money. I'm broke. I am down to my last penny. I'm just scraping to get by for rent. That's why Priscilla has a 21-day free challenge. There's opportunities. You have to invest in yourself. If you invest in yourself, then things will happen for you and things will move in a proper direction, in which after that 21-day free challenge, maybe you have some more money and maybe, okay, I'm ready to invest in coaching with you, Priscilla. And, probably has a payment plan, even if you don't. So there's ways to work with someone when you invest in yourself first. And all entrepreneurs talk about this. Gary Vee talks about this. Alex Hormozi talks about this. You have to invest in you. That's the first step. You can't accept an investor or anyone to buy anything from you if you don't have unwavering confidence and unwavering faith. So I absolutely love what you're doing, Priscilla, because it helps me. I'm going to do the 21-day challenge. After this call, I'd love for you to message it to me, and so I can sign up because I need it so that I can stay grounded and that I can be better. A guy spoke to me yesterday. He said, Sam, you need a coach. That's what you need a coach. You need a coach to help you with communication, help you with listening. And he's 100% right. But I'm someone that doesn't like spending money. So I would rather say, okay, let me do the free challenge, invest in myself. And in that 21 days, now I'll be ready to do, some other platform, like maybe learning, Learn Wave. I apologize if I'm messing that up. Learn Forum. It's a forum for listening. He told me about it. I'm blanking on it. I apologize for the audience. But trying that, doing sales seminar, utilizing a sales coach. Meg Groundell is a great one if you're in the UK. She's not too expensive. So investing in a coach like Priscilla, because what Priscilla does, she's not going to help you with sales. She's going to help you holistically, and that's going to help you with sales. That's going to help you with mindset. That's going to help you with your business. That's going to help you with your life. It's going to help you with your personal life. It's going to help you with relationships. It's a holistic approach. That's why we put it on the platform. But with that, Priscilla, you can floor and let's do this video.
Awesome. And just before I share the video, what you said is absolutely right. Bob himself used to say, if you want your life to get better, you have got to study you. You've got to invest in yourself because honestly, you are the greatest return. Investing in yourself will always give you the greatest return. You are always your greatest investment because guess who's in the center of all the results you're creating, whether they're personal or professional? It's you. So you have to invest in yourself for things to start to change. With that, let me share the video. Let me see. Okay. Share screen.
Pay the bill. Share it with you today. And today we're
perfect. Let me.
One conversation changed my life completely. And today, what I'm going to share with you in this very short space of time is how I made a decision and took one conversation with someone to find out how I could possibly go and create the life of my dreams. Now, you're probably not new to personal development or new to these videos of people saying you can create this financial freedom. But I want to share with you today a story, and you will either resonate or you won't. But my purpose in life is to come to people like you who I know are searching for something and give you tools, give you understanding of why you are the way you are, why you have the results in life that you have, why you think positive, why you think negative, why sometimes you self sabotage. But most importantly, this is not another video just telling you about the pain, telling you about do you have sleepless nights not knowing how you're going to pay the bills? Do you worry about workplace colleagues, or maybe you're unable to find a solution to the problem? This video is about giving you a solution, is about giving you hope, is about giving you a scientific framework that I had the absolute privilege of getting my hands on over 7 years ago. And the story I'm going to tell you, I think whilst it's my personal experience of how I took these teachings and moved it into physical riches of life, health, wealth, relationships, it's a story about you. Because the fundamental bottom line is we are all exactly the same. We all have different results in life, but we all come from the same place. We're all going somewhere. And while we're on this earth, we have got a mindset. And it is your mindset that dictates the results you're getting in your life. Now, 7 years ago, I did not know that. I was working as a nurse in psychiatrics, looking after young people. And I'd studied, I'd went to school, I'd listened to my parents who always says, get the good government job, make sure you do well in your exams, pay attention when you're in class. And if you get the job and the house and the car, you're landed. And I did all of that. And you know what? I struggled my way to that because I did not enjoy school. I always thought you had to be smart to earn a lot of money. You had to be smart to get the good jobs. And I believed that I was not smart. I was the kid that was staring out the window, not paying attention. In fact, I was doing all the things that my parents were saying, make sure you don't do this. And I think this is where it all starts. Maybe when you were a child, you were told you can't do something or it should look like this. And the truth is, and what I want you to get across today in your mind, is that you have a unique gift within you. Whether you're aware of it or not, I don't know. But my job here is to share with you a couple of things that my mentor taught me. Because whilst I went and got the good government job, I had the nursing job, I was getting a good salary. What I didn't realize was what I thought was good was actually not fulfilling my desires, was not giving me the freedom to go and choose where I want to go on holiday, how many I want to go on, help my family, build something that creates an impact in this world. In fact, I was serving, but I was serving little amount of people, and I didn't really understand the mind. If I'm honest, I can truly say it was only until I came across Bob Proctor, who was the master teacher and thinker, helping people develop their potential, helping them elevate their performance by understanding who they were. Now, when I first came across this, I thought, well, I'm just Kim. I'm a nurse. I live in Northern Ireland and I have 2 dogs. That was kind of it. And I ask you the question, if I was to stop you in the street and say, who are you? If I take your name away, mum, dad, husband, wife, director, CEO, whatever your label or role is, if I was to take those things away, how would you answer that question? Who are you? And the reason I pose that question to you and I ask you to really consider it is because it was that question on that conversation that made me think for the first time. And I'll be honest, was there challenges when I was deciding to change things up in my life? Absolutely. Because here's the truth. See, the minute you decide to move forward on your goal, there's always something trying to pull you back. And it is usually past beliefs, past memories, other people's opinions, or just frankly, lack of awareness. You don't know what's going to happen if you step out on your dream. And when you don't know something, what do? We doubt it. We think, well, I better not. Well, what happened to me was I found myself in a position where I'm sitting in my nursing, I'm sitting in my 9 to 5 job. That's the hours that I did. And I'm staring out the window and I'm sitting in the office that everyone said, oh, if you're a nurse and you get your own office, wow, you really made it to the top. And I'm sitting there and I'm feeling empty. I'm feeling a sense of unfulfillment. I was also feeling a sense of there has got to be more. There would be moments where I would just be in my own little bubble. That's my parents and my teachers always used to say, Kim, hello, come back to earth. I was in this bubble, and different from when I was a child where you're in your imagination and you're creating. Now as an adult, I'm in the same bubble, but it seemed darker. It seemed more limited. And really I was in a bubble of a thought of, I don't know what else to do because I've done everything that everyone's told me. But yet I'm in a position where at the end of every month, I am waiting for payday. Every single month, I'm adding on more hours, doing more shifts, getting extra jobs, but my money is not going up. So I started to see a pattern that I'm working harder. I'm getting apparently smarter by doing courses. But the bottom line was my life wasn't changing. I've already said I was waiting on the paycheck. And yeah, money is definitely an important thing. But the biggest thing for me was I felt like I was leaving my gifts on the table unwrapped. I was feeling that I didn't even know what those gifts were, but I had a sense. And the reason that I articulate it this way to you is because I believe in every cell of my body that you have a feeling within you that wants to expand, wants to grow, wants to achieve, wants to just have more money, more time, more love, more forgiveness, more patience, more creative ideas, more experiences. I mean, the list is endless. I mightn't even know what's on your list, but I know it's going to be a greater expansion of what you already have. And I want you to ask yourself, do you feel it? And then I want you to ask yourself, in a few seconds later, do you get followed up by a thought of, you shouldn't want more? I should just settle. I'm doing okay. I should be grateful for what I have. Well, I'm only asking because that's what happened to me. I'm sitting in that office and having those thoughts. I'm feeling that pain. And it got to a point, and it would take me an awful long time to tell you the full story, but it got to a point, I'm in the highly paid government job with a pension, but I'm also in a pet shop, not being able to afford my 2 Jack Russells, Roxy and Rex dog food. And that was a moment that changed the trajectory of my life. That was a moment where I realized I am not even in a position where I can do the simple things in life. Never mind go away and have experiences. Never mind have a dream home, drive the car you really want to drive. And that was the breaking moment. That was the moment I said to myself, never again. I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. I wonder, have you felt that? In the last months, in the last weeks, in the last years, have you been working harder than you've ever worked? Do you perhaps know how to do better, but actually you're not even doing what you know how to do? Do you feel that maybe you don't know what to do or what you want? These are like the most important questions that most of us run away from. Why? Because we don't have good answers. And when we don't have good answers, what do we feel? We feel silly. We feel like, oh, I'm going to avoid that topic. Nobody wants to feel like they don't know something. But you know what? The greatest thing that I can say, I'm so proud of the 27-year-old of me who started on this journey. I was okay because I already thought I was silly. I already thought I was stupid. I was dyslexic. I wasn't really good at school. So I already kind of thought that, which I think actually went in my favor, because I had no problem in actually asking someone for help. I had no problem or no superior complex that made me feel like I can't ask for help. I'm 37 now, and I've been doing this for around 7.5, 8 years. But it was 27 when I woke up, and I decided I need to learn more about life. I need to learn more about me, because I'm looking at lots of people and they're doing the same things as me. And when we get together, we talk about it, we complain about it. You just go out and ask somebody, how are you? When do you ever get a positive response? And that's something that I started to notice. I didn't even have people in my family, people in my friendship, people in my career that were talking about goals, that were talking about things that they really wanted to do with their family, that were talking about who were actually going and getting the dream home, taking the kids to Disney. Conversations were about all the things we can't do, all the problems, things that are happening in the news, things that are in magazines. The truth is, you're getting programmed every single day by your environment. And we don't learn about this in school. They didn't teach us this. They didn't teach us the most important things. And this is why it's not your fault of why you're maybe getting the results that you're getting. And that's where it really came to. I decided I'm going to contact someone who's a mentor, who's demonstrated in results. They understand psychology, performance, and how to get good results in life. Bob's number one slogan was, you tell me what you want, I'll show you how to get it. And yes, I heard it too from my parents. Sounds too good to be true. But you know what? It sounded good. And I was sick of hearing not good stuff. So I did make that decision. I contacted and I made a phone call and I spoke to someone for the first time. I was nervous. I didn't know what the phone call was going to be about. I kind of felt like, oh my goodness, they're going to ask me lots of questions. I won't know the answer. All of that stuff comes up. What did I say at the start of this? Every time you go to move forward, there's always something trying to pull you back. But I got on the phone. I took the next most important step and contacted somebody who knew what they were talking about. And I say it, and I remind you, it's so important that people have results if you're going to contact them. There's so much in this world right now of people saying they can do this and they can do that. And it's great. Some are opportunities, some are not. You see this in every step of life. You can't get away from that. So what you've got to realize is there is a specific scientific way to achieve success. And this interested me because I've always been into science. Obviously, my nursing background, I've just always been a bit of a geek in that field. I was always a kid. Why does that happen? How does that happen? I want to learn. So when I got on a call and somebody started asking me just simple questions like, if we had a magic wand, what would you love? If you could just go tap, 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 what would you change in your life? What would you create? Who would be around? What would that feel like? Where would you go? How would you experience it? How would you go? When would you go? Where would you go? There's so many questions. If you just sit still, even just think right now, if you had a magic wand, you could just create a life. If you just even close your eyes as you're watching this video, what's the first thing that comes into your mind? What is it that you truly want? It mightn't even be a thing. In fact, I guarantee it's not. Because the truth is, we do not go after things to get. The key to goal achieving is to, yes, say, I would like these things, but things are growth. You don't go after goals to get, you go after goals because it helps you grow. Back when I was in that pet shop, I had £4.20 in my pocket. I had absolutely no reason to be getting on a call to talk about how I could advance myself and maybe start a business or maybe start to think about having a dream home. I had £4.20, and I know that because that moment in that pet shop when my heart was breaking, I had just fallen in love with someone, to be really truthful. And they said, oh, Kim, what about this dog food? And I was embarrassed. I couldn't tell them, no, not today. But I felt it. And in that lowest moment, when I really didn't like me, because here's the thing: when you don't have money in your life, when you don't have the life that you want, the results, let's just call them results, it always comes back to really one thing. And that is, the universe will only ever give you what you feel you're worthy of receiving. So I was blaming my job. I was blaming my parents. I was blaming the school teachers. I was blaming the economy. I was blaming anybody but me. I didn't take responsibility. I couldn't, because I didn't even know. I wasn't even aware that my thoughts create my reality. I was not aware that we as human beings on this planet have a mindset, and whatever way it's set is going to show you in your results how that's set. So this is why Bob started to say, Kim, let's look at your results. My finances, not good. My relationships previously, horrendous. Why? Because I made you aware of it. It all comes down to how you think you're worthy. I never thought I was worthy. My deepest seated belief was that I was unlovable. From as long as I can remember as a child till right until I started to work on my mind and my thinking and the scientific process, I thought I was unworthy. I thought I was unlovable. I didn't think I was good enough. And I'm not even really sure where I got that thought from or that belief. I picked it up somewhere along the way because I wasn't born with it. You're only born with two fears: loud noises and falling. So where has the fear of rejection come from? Where has the fear of lack come from? You've picked it up somewhere along your trail. And the way I thought about it was, well, if I picked it up, I can put it back down. There's got to be a way. If my mind has been programmed, which it has, you're programmed genetically, and then you're programmed environmentally. You just look at the people around you. They're very like you. And I started to think, not that I didn't like the people around me, not that I was judging or thinking I want to be better than anyone. I wanted to be better than the version I currently was. Because whilst I appeared as a happy person, whilst I went into a good job and did my work, I wasn't really living. I was just doing the same thing every week, every month, every year. That was it. I don't believe that you believe that that's how life's supposed to be. I know it's not. I've now demonstrated that over the 7.5, 8 years that I've been working on myself, working with my mentor, and then sharing that with my clients. I went from £4.20 to selling my car. Because here's the thing: the one biggest lesson that Bob taught me about money that nobody ever had was that money is earned and money can be attracted. And this was such a new concept for me. I just thought money came from your employer at the end of every month. It's not, it comes through your employer. I started to learn these scientific, spiritual principles around abundance and prosperity. Basically, what that means is I started to think differently about money. You go outside and you ask 10 people what their thoughts are on money, you'll get 10 different answers. So the question that I started to go with, what's the truth? And Bob started to say, Kim, money is just energy. Money is just like a friend. And if you talk not good to it, your friend's not going to want to hang around. Where you invite a friend in and treat them well, then this is what happens. You're going to attract more money. So I started to learn this. I started to practice it. I started to totally reevaluate my belief system. I started to become aware that I have a thing called a paradigm. Paradigm is a mental program. We all have one. You have one. I have one. And that's what sets the temperature of your life. You're operating out of it in automatic every single day. This blew my mind. Bob said, Kim, if I was to ask anybody that knows you, if you get up in the morning, you do the same things every day. You have the same routine. You have the same routine. In fact, you could go and tell me your parents' or partner's routine, your kids' routine. You even know the routine of your coworkers. Why? Because we're habitual creatures. And the question we got to ask is, are our habits actually leading us to where we want to go? And I'd never thought of this. So I didn't know that we had this programming, this mental GPS. And then I didn't realize that you had to set goals. And you know what? I thought I was really silly the first time I heard that. When someone asked me, what are your goals in life? To get through to the end of the month was my answer. Just to get by, just to get this stuff done. It was actually, I was always answering all the things I don't want. And again, ask yourself that question. What is it that you want? And actually notice, is your answer what you want, or is your answer to eliminate the things that you don't want? Because this, again, is where you're going wrong. And I'm not saying it's your fault. You don't know what you don't know. This is why awareness is the key to freedom. Becoming more aware of who you are, where you are, how you got there, how your mind works. That's what unlocks the key to the kingdom. And this was exactly what I've been on a journey to go from £4.20. Now I have 5 companies. I've generated tens of millions in sales, and I serve thousands of people all over the world in multiple countries, sharing and passing on what I was taught. And this is the beautiful thing, that you have the opportunity. There's a reason that you came across this video. There is a reason that you're still watching this video. Now, I'm not going to deny, I would say there's still a part of you thinking, this all sounds too good to be true. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you one drawing as I bring this video to a close. And if you stay on to the very end of this drawing, you're going to see the exact scientific overview, let's call it, of who you are, why you're getting the results you're getting, and how you can change it. Because if I can do it, you can do it. I am just an ordinary person. Now I live in my dream home. I serve people all over the world. I get up when I want to get up. I go to places I want to go. I'm able to be around people that I love, have quality time, help people in my family, help people in my team. And I couldn't be more grateful. So I'm going to give you this overview, this scientific breakdown. And if this piques your interest, if this in any shape or form resonates with you, or you kind of have light bulb moments, I am telling you now, I am here for a reason to tell you, come and have your own conversation. Let's get on a call. Let's start to explore, think in possibilities. We have got a link below here that allows you right now to come and speak about you, about your goals. And if you don't know what they are, that's great. We'll guide you through that conversation. There's no cost. It just takes your time. But what if you could give, let's say, 15, 20 minutes and just open up your mind to possibilities? Start to see, actually, yeah, there is a system to this. See, the thing that I realized was I really am no different. Many people, when they meet me, they say, Kim, you've achieved so much. You were Bob Proctor's #1 global teacher at the highest level. Bob gave you awards that have never been earned by anybody else and said, you are going to change the world. But you're so normal. I'm also quite short. Yeah. So this is how I know I'm on purpose. And maybe you're on your right path right now and you were supposed to hear this. This is what excites me. Now, I'm going to take you over to the whiteboard and we're going to show you exactly how your mind operates. All right, I'm going to take you over to the whiteboard and I want you to look here at a diagram that my mentor shared with me. Now, what I'm going to share with you in the next short 10 minutes is really bringing together all of the wisdom of the ages. That might sound like a big statement, but if you watch this, you will actually see that it is truth. Now, here is you. This is the drawing of you. And we're going to say that this large circle is your mind. Okay? You know you have a mind. You just don't fully understand it. People think the mind is the brain. The brain is the kind of the operating system, the hardware, sorry. So I want you to realize that the mind operates in two ways. We have a conscious mind and we have a subconscious mind. And these are two totally different parts of you. And I'm not going to go too deep into this, but to help you understand, you have a part of your mind that thinks and you have a part of your mind that feels. Now, you know this, and you'll know when you're thinking from your head or you're thinking from your heart. And of course, this is so vital to businesses, entrepreneurs, moms, teachers, anybody. If you especially are in sales, if you're wanting to improve your communication, attract high quality paying clients, you've got to understand how people work. You've got to start to understand how you can use your mind to start to navigate through life with ease, flow, and joy. Instead of just kind of dealing with this and dealing with that, we react to life. And we react to life because we don't know how to respond. Now, what are we reacting to? Well, we're reacting to results. Results are the aim of the game. Your results are really an expression of your mindset. So you want to ask yourself, okay, what are my results? Let me look at finances. Let me look at relationships. Let me look at my career. Let me look at my health. I want you to actually sit down and go, what are my results? Before you figure out who you are on where you're going, you need to first ask yourself, where am I? And it's results that will give you the clue. Now, the truth is, we also have 5 senses: sight, hearing, taste, touch, and smell. And you've got these senses that you go out with every day. You believe them because, well, you can see, you can hear, you can taste, you can touch. So I don't have to convince you you have those. But what if I was to tell you you've got other superpowers that are actually inside your mind that you don't know about? And this is what got me really interested, because when Bob sat me down, he says, Kim, here's what happens. People look at their results, and if they're honest, they will realize they're not the results that they want. Let's just call them negative. That doesn't mean you're a bad person. That doesn't mean that you're not good. But if you're honest, you're probably not where you want to be. You're probably not living the life you really want to live. So let's just constitute that as negative. Now, what happens is people see their results, they see the bank balance, they see the relationships that are maybe failing, they see themselves in the mirror, and what happens? What do we think? When you look at your results, what is the thought? I guarantee you the thought is probably negative. It's either negative to the situation or negative to yourself. Now, what happens is a thought is energy. That's what thought is. It's the most potent energy on the planet. Not many people teach us this, but thoughts become things. What we think about, we bring about. We've heard all the quotes, we've heard all the sayings. I'm showing you the science of how it happens. So if you look at these negative results, you think negative, this energy must move into the subconscious mind and you'll have a negative feeling. We have emotions. Energy in motion. That's what emotions are. It started by a thought, moves into the subconscious mind, and then guess what? It is expressed through the body. Your body gives off energy all day long. That's why you have to eat. That's why you have to sleep. You give off energy. Now, I like to call it attitude. Again, if you're in business, if you're in sales, so important. Why? Because your attitude to life is going to be life's attitude to you. Your attitude to sales is going to be sales' attitude to you. Your attitude to your employees, your attitude to your family, your attitude to anything in life will be exactly what comes back to you. You've got a bad attitude. You're probably saying everybody else has got a bad attitude, but it's a reflection of you. Everything that goes out must come back. That is the law of cause and effect. It's not going to change for you. It is absolute universal truth. So if I think negative and I feel negative, then that must move to the body and is expressed in my actions. You'll know when somebody has a bad attitude. Or an example could be maybe you bump into somebody and you kind of go, I'm not sure about them. Or you meet somebody and you just hit it off from the first moment. Why? because their attitude was either in harmony with you or not in harmony with you. Okay, now harmony means your thoughts, feelings, and actions are in alignment. That will go into a deeper conversation. But this attitude is the composite of your thoughts, of your feelings, and then your actions. So when you go out and take action in a negative energy, guess what happens? If we look over here, everything that goes out must come back. This is how you create your results in life. Now think about this. You can probably look at your relationships and go, yeah, what am I thinking about my relationship? How am I feeling about my relationship? What am I doing about my relationship? And you'll probably see you're more in the negative pole. I hope you're not, but maybe you are. And even if you have a great relationship, start to think, how can I make this better? Everything that you put out is what's coming back. I did not know this when I was sitting in nursing. I did not know that me thinking about how am I going to get out of debt? How am I going to do it? These were the wrong thoughts. I was giving energy to debt. So guess what kept coming to me? Debt, bills, problems. I kept thinking in my mind, I'm not good enough. I'm not lovable. That made me feel not good enough. That made me feel sad. Do you know what I did in my actions? I went to the gym to try and get really fit and strong to think, well, then somebody will love me. Do you know what really happened? I changed my outer body. I did. But nothing changed on the inside. So guess what? Nothing changed on the outside. I looked different. I didn't feel different. And I attracted people that didn't love me. I used to blame them. I used to think, well, that's because I keep attracting the wrong people. Yeah, because I didn't realize that if I don't love me and my attitude to me sucks, I'm going to attract somebody that doesn't love me. Now, this should be ringing bells with you. You have literally been told something that we are never taught in school. And if you're really true with yourself, you've now been able to go down and go, I see what's happening here. I'm thinking about what I don't want. I'm doing other things. Like you might be working harder, which is what a lot of people do. They try to change things at this level. That's the wrong level to change it at. You're actually operating and making it harder for yourself. You're spinning the wheels, you're spinning plates, you're dropping some, you're trying to be productive, but you feel you're getting nothing done. I mean, if this is resonating, please understand the reason is because you're operating at such a lower level than what your potential is. When Bob started to tell me, and if I bring this down and just draw this again, when Bob started to teach me, Kim, you have a programming in your subconscious mind. This is a mental program. It's habits, it's beliefs. And what happens is you view the world through that lens. You're looking at me through a lens right now. If we put a filter on it, a green filter, I would look green. If we put a blue filter, I'd look blue. Well, let's just represent your negative beliefs and habits as red. Well, guess what? You're going to see red in your environment. I started to realize, and it was incredible, that I could start to create a paradigm of habits and beliefs that serves me. I'd start to attract that. How many times have you heard people say, oh my goodness, it's one thing after another? And I'm going, yeah, because you haven't changed the root cause of all results. The root cause of results is in your subconscious mind. Most people don't understand it. How would you? But what if you could understand it? What if I taught you? What if I taught you what I've learned and I've created an absolute life of abundance? I mightn't drive the car that you like. I mightn't live in the house that you like. But you know what? I have choice. I have freedom. I have love. I have fulfillment. I now understand I am God's highest form of creation. I now understand how to tap into an infinite power that is always present, always available. I learned how to tune my mind onto the frequency of the reality that I want. As Einstein says, you cannot help but create that reality. It's not philosophy, it's physics. Now, to give you this, and as we leave, look at this. These are frequencies. I talked earlier about thoughts or energy. And I've also said that here's this programming. You're only going to attract thoughts that are in harmony. Let's call these red thoughts. If you have habits like procrastination, if you have got beliefs that maybe you're not good enough or that you can't, you're looking through that lens. I don't care how much you're working. I don't care how much energy you're putting in. I'm telling you now, you cannot outwork this. You must change the habits and the beliefs at the root cause. That's what we teach. That's what Bob Proctor taught me. That's what I now teach my clients who are now going and closing 100K months for the first time in their business, who are now traveling all over the world as coaches, consultants, teaching, helping other people. I've now developed a whole digital company that now allows any entrepreneur, whether you're a startup or whether you're scaling, how to streamline those processes with ease so that you're actually doing what you want in your business. You're actually working on your business instead of in the business. You start to look through a different lens. Now, here's what happens. Let's say this person is thinking on a lower frequency. We've got highs and we've got lows. You look at a battery, it has a plus and a minus sign. Well, the aim of life is you want to move on to those higher levels of awareness. You want to raise your consciousness. The good stuff basically happens up there. And if you're programmed, let's say we look at this red dot, you're programmed because you're programmed here, you are only going to attract everything that's on that frequency. This is the scientific formula. I didn't create it. Man didn't. So we're not going to change it. And then you will know people, and they seem to have great results because, see, your results will be in alignment with how you're programmed. So if you think, in a more negative way, you see the glass half empty, your results are going to show that. But then there's other people in the world, and they've got the dream home, they've got the money, they've got love, they've got all these amazing things. And you're kind of like, oh, they always come up smelling like roses. And you kind of go, oh, how did they do that? And when you go and ask those people, maybe it's a top performer in your company, maybe you're wanting to create more top performers in your company. I know how to tune people into that frequency. And whatever frequency you're on is what you'll frequently see. The truth is, here's where most people are. Good days, bad days. Good business, not so good business. Sales are soaring, sales are not soaring. Health is good, health is not good. Up and down. Can you relate? Do you feel like sometimes everything is just going up and down? And when it's up, you're kind of going, oh, I hope it stays this way. And then, woo, away it goes again. Life doesn't have to be like that. Life does not have to be unpredictable. In fact, this is predictable. You're going up and down. So why not decide, what if I actually started to think differently? What if I started to choose different thoughts? What if I started to work on my habits and my beliefs at a subconscious level? And you know what? When you go out and take actions, from positive thoughts to positive feelings to positive actions, you will only attract positive results. This is how your mind works. You know how to do 1% better. You know that on a conscious level. You could sit down right now and say, Kim, I know how to do better. I know I should be doing this. I know I should be going to the gym. I know I should be eating healthier. I know I could be doing this X, Y, Z. You have a list. This is why there's a gap from what you know and what you do. This is the last thing I'm going to share with you. And if this does not make you want to find out more, I don't know what will. Your conscious mind controls 2 to 4% of everything that you do. Your conscious mind that you're using right now only controls 2 to 4% of what actually you go out and do. Your subconscious mind controls 96 to 98%. So what I'm saying is, subconsciously, on habit, you mightn't even be noticing, it's on automatic. That's where most of your actions, results are coming from. So you can see this is a huge gap. What you know to do and what you actually do, huge gap. What if we could change that? What if we can take some time right now? I have skilled up a very small team of 4 people. We don't work in huge numbers. I am very locked in with each of my clients. And what if I could take you through a process that would allow you to unlock your mind, unlock and get you free of procrastination? Even if we just change that one habit, that you no longer procrastinate it. How much money would that make you? How much time freedom would that give you back? This is the pure joy of why I'm so grateful that you maybe accidentally came across this video. I don't believe in accidents. I believe you've been searching for why and getting away from this frustration that you felt for probably quite a long time. You're doing things more, you're doing it harder. The end result is not improving. We can help you with that. I have a dedicated team ready to speak to you right now to look at that starting point of where we just get started. Maybe it's just to even give you more information. We're not here to twist your arm behind your back, but we're here to help people become aware of what most of us don't know. I want to help you elevate your mind. I want to help you have more time freedom with your family, with your kids. I now watch my clients all over the world take their kids to school. We even have some kids learning this content, and even they're succeeding and doing things in big ways. And ask yourself this: if you don't learn it for you, if you never were taught it, who is going to teach your kids? I believe that we all have a responsibility in this time, in this world, when it's never been needed more, to create a massive impact and a massive change. Your service is needed in a greater way. Ask yourself, how are you increasing your service? How are you multiplying your business? How are you multiplying your productivity? Or maybe you're sitting in a job right now and you know you have a desire and a dream to start something of your own. Don't deny the world of your greatness because you're too afraid to step out. The only reason that you've got fear is because you don't understand what I've just taught you. I do. And I'm the world's best at teaching it so that you can apply it and implement it, keep you accountable, guide you through a process that reverse engineers from your goal, giving you access to, quite frankly, tools and teachings that you can't get anywhere else, because I've been taught by the best. I went and made that decision to have a call. I went and made that decision at £4.20. I'm going to do it because even though I was at my worst part of my life, that made me the strongest. That gave me the desire to have the discipline to go and do what it took. And I didn't want to do it by myself. And what we've created here in Dynamite Lifestyle, by myself being a high performance mentor, I've worked with billionaires and I've worked with people who are just like me in a job wanting to get out. I don't care who you are, where you're from, what your background is, what's in your bank balance. I just care about that feeling that I know is in your soul that is wanting more. And if you deny this, that's your choice. But it will come back and it will keep trying and it will keep trying. And maybe one day it won't come back. And maybe it's not in this lifetime that you're going to make the change, but it can be. And I'm here to support you. So for your first step, without having to understand all of this, if this just resonated, book your call today. It is a consultation call, totally relaxed as I'm talking to you right now. It's completely confidential. You are with global experts that also have worked with Bob Proctor. People that actually care, people who've actually done this. We see results every week from our clients, from people who couldn't even walk, who are now able to dance every time they come onto our calls because they've healed themselves. We have people who have went through life-changing health transformations. We have people who have built multi-million-dollar companies. We have people who have school teachers who just decided, well, I would love to create my own business, and who are now doing art lessons online through our digital company. There's nothing that we can't help you with. One of the big questions that people say is, Kim, who's this for? Everyone. I don't discriminate. I don't box people in. What do you want? And I'll show you how to get it. The one question and the one conversation that changed my life. Make it the decision now. Say yes to you. This won't cost you anything, but it might cost you everything not to do it. Staying where you are is not going to shift the needle. Now that you've even become aware of why you maybe are where you are, then that's even more reason. Don't make that mistake of just playing it safe. There is no playing safe. You're always risking something in life. And all I'm asking you right now is to give us 15, 20 minutes to hear about you, to hear what those possible goals could be, to give you some tips and tools and resources that can help you maybe start in this journey or maybe help you expand and scale in this journey. You're important and you have a big message and impact to leave. And I've shown up at the right time. The teacher always shows up when the student is ready. My name is Kim Calvert. I'm the CEO of Dynamite Lifestyle, and I am so grateful to have had your time and your presence here in this video. I look forward to speaking with you, working with you, and taking you on this journey because there is something great about you and you are yet to do your greatest work.
Wow, that was great. So now I'm going to put myself back in the position of someone that's a potential client. So I took some notes. The first thing that she said that really stuck out to me is she mentioned the universe will only give you what you feel you're worthy of receiving.
Oof, yeah.
I mean, that's big right there. That's big right there. And that made me think about my own life and, looking at my business and realizing that, like she said, when you start a business, especially in the US, people are not going to congratulate you. They're not. They're not going to congratulate you. They're not going to tell you that you're going to do a good job. And they're definitely not going to say you did a good job when you get a sale. What they're going to say is one of three things. They're either going to say, one, well, how much money did you make if you get the sale? Two, they're going to say, I told you so if you ever struggle. And three, like she said, they're going to bog you down with mental thoughts of the negative of what if, what it fails, how it will be, what if, you don't know if you're going to get a deal. I mean, you don't know if you're going to get a job, right?
Yep.
They say, well, get a job. You don't know if you're going to find a job. So it's like no predictability in life regardless. The other thing that she said was saying stuff like I'm unlovable applies to more than just relationships. It then applies to your business finances. It applies to your health. It applies to your career. It applies to everything. So replacing it with I'm worthy of love is a much better thing. Then when she got the whiteboard and she talked about thinking versus feeling, she said habits lead you where you want to go. And the fact that the conscious mind, only 2 to 4% of that actually doing. And then 96 to 98% is actual doing. And that's where all the negative thoughts come in. I hear it all the time. Oh, well, I don't know if I'll get the deal. I got to give her a discount because she might not choose full price. All of these things, it leads to the low results. So, changing my finances are low to money is attracted to me much better than, oh, money's low, so I got to work harder and because then you get burned out. My relationship is non-existent to people like me. My career is establishing, which it is, to I'm a successful business owner. Is okay and decent to I'm well. So those are some of my takes. So my question is let's say someone wants to get started but doesn't have the money. Explain more about that 21-day free challenge, and then just talk about some of your experiences from people in my shoes who maybe they didn't have money to invest, or maybe they were scared, or maybe they had fear and they didn't know what to do, but they knew this was a good option for them. So speak on those two things, please.
Awesome. So the 21-day free challenge is an amazing challenge which Kim created. It's hosted on our app. So Dynamite Lifestyle have an app called The Source where we host everything. And basically what happens is you go in every day and you have a video to watch or an audio to listen to, and then some questions to answer. And then you save and complete that and you earn some coins. So Kim has added this gamification element to it. Number one, because people like streaks, right? We like to see tick, 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 because we're showing up and we're being consistent. So each time you show up and you save, you earn some coins. That also helps with accountability, because on the back end, I'm not able to see what it is you write, but I'm able to see your coins going up. I'm able to see that you've done the days. And if you do not complete the day within the 24 hours, within that day, you don't complete the session, it stays locked until the end of the 21 days. So you can only access it at the end of the 21 days. Now, what you'll go through in the 21 days is an overview of what Kim teaches. So you'll get a better understanding of who you are. You'll get a better understanding of how your results are being created, of your mind, of your self-image, of money, all these things which she teaches. You get an overview of that to give you like a better understanding of what it is that we teach and what it is that we do. At the end of the 21 days, then we get on a call and then see what could be potentially the next best fit, how to implement some of the things that you've learned in order to start seeing some changes, or what the best next course of action is for you. So that's kind of how the 21-day challenge looks. In addition, we have something which is called DD, which is our daily dynamite. And we love to start the day with DD because it is where we do our gratitude and we set intentions. Now, Kim mentioned the different frequency levels. So what gratitude does is it trains your mind to look for the good, because you're acknowledging and giving thanks for the good that's already in your life. You're raising your frequency. So you can see how starting your day with gratitude, rather than maybe the thoughts of yesterday or what didn't go so well or what you're not looking forward to, instead intentionally training your mind to look for the good first thing in the morning, and then setting intentions which focuses our energy. So we're clear, this is what I need to get done today, or maybe this is an energy I want to have today, or maybe this is an attitude I want to have today. You are setting the direction of your attention consciously and deliberately. So it's a very powerful way to start the day, and it's all built into the app as well. It's called DD. Same thing there. When you complete it, you earn coins. So I'm able to see on the back end how many of those you're completing. So within the community, you have a community as well. There's an awesome community that we have. So you have community, you have support, you have accountability, and you're getting incredible mindset training. So that's a bit about the 21-day challenge.
I like that because it gives somebody something tangible, so they don't have to commit, and they get something of value, and it leads them through the process where once it's over, you're taking next steps in the pipeline without having to spend any money. Because a lot of times, especially in the coaching world, people want to gatekeep everything and they want to give nothing away for free. And to an extent, I get it. But at the end of the day, that's why a lot of people aren't rich, because they want to gatekeep everything. They want to give nothing away. So I like the Dynamite lifestyle gives something away, gives some value, so that you see the value. If you don't see the value in the 21 days, well, fine. You don't waste any money. You don't waste any time. You see value in the 21 days. Now, okay, we can move forward with you using our platform and you paying for coaching. And I really respect that about Dynamite lifestyle compared to other coaching people and other coaching platforms that just want to milk you for money when you don't even know if it works, right? And I get it to an extent. You have bills to pay, and people always want things for free, but I like that you can see how it works in your own life. Then you can see, okay, this is doing value for me. This is creating routine for me. I'm seeing changes in the 21 days. So now I want to keep going.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So any final thoughts, anything you want to close us off with, Priscilla? You have the floor.
Thank you. Well, first, thank you so much for this opportunity and this spotlight for myself and for Dynamite Lifestyle. I would just encourage anyone, if anything in the video resonated, because they say the truth resonates, right? So if anything in the video resonated, please do reach out. Honestly, making that call or booking that call could be the start of a completely new life for you. I know when I was starting mentorship and I was booking that call, I was terrified. I didn't know what I was going to be asked or what I was going to be told or any of it. Borrow my belief. Because in the beginning, you might not believe that it could work for you. You might not believe that maybe that dream that's been whispering and getting louder and louder and louder in your heart, you might not have the belief that it could actually be possible for you. So borrow our belief, because so many clients have gotten incredible results, whether it's in their personal lives and, health and relationships, mending family relationships, whether it's in their professional life,